Well, Howard read the article. Howard actually said, he goes, I think it just makes you cooler. And then she said, the one thing she said, she goes, he's a combination of, Artie's a combination because of his storytelling of David Sedaris and Chris Farley.
Okay.
And Norm went on Howard and goes, what does that mean? You're like real funny and you're also a fag? Norm is just the most honest. But he goes, after seeing the picture, he goes, here's the one piece of advice. Anyone who owns a camera should not be allowed in your apartment.
Nobody really did anything with it since Bill and Jane stopped doing it until Dennis really took it over. So
right.
He made it hip again.
To say Norm Macdonald had no jokes is one my God.
Oh, yeah.
Gives me douche chills. Some of the best jokes ever, and some of the ballsiest jokes, you know.
Just all the OJ jokes where he would just stare into the camera. Like, he didn't get it that was funny when he stared into the camera.
Right.
Yeah.
The greatest story ever is when supposedly he got fired, and Norm is in Don Ohlmeyer's office, and he goes, Norm, I got some bad news for you. And Norm goes, what? He goes, you're fired. He goes, oh my God, that's terrible. Why? He goes, because you're not funny. Oh my God, that's even worse news.
Such a real reaction. I can tell you notice.
Oh my God, that's even worse news. How am I going to get a job now? I've always liked it here. I have a lot of history here. You know, I like it here.
What is your history here?
Well, I mean, you know, doing stand up and stuff. There's a story I tell about Norm. I opened up for Norm at the Palace of the Fine Arts when Dirty Work came out in 1998. MGM sent us on a tour. Two horrible, degenerate gamblers. We had all these bets in with these bookies on the. It was June. It was the NBA Finals between the Utah Jazz and the Bulls, and we would perform. And every night we had like 40 grand on the games, and we would watch them just nervously, like at the end, like in these. They put us up in Ritz Carltons because MGM was footing the bill for everything.
Right.
And we did about 7 cities. So we came to San Francisco, and I had only done a club here. And Norm comes up to me, and this was good. Norm just loved torturing people, and he does it in the most brilliant way.
Right.
He comes up to me and goes, listen, man, we're in fucking San Francisco. No gay shit. And I go, all right. Well, I've played San Francisco before. He goes, nah, that's like you're at a club. There's a fucking theater, man. There's critics out there. Don't fuck me, man. No gay shit. And I go, all right, fine. So I go, 20 minutes, and I have 4 seconds at that point in my life without gay stuff. So I get through the 20 minutes. I introduce Norm. Norm walks out, and I'm listening from the back. Before he says, good to be here, you're a great crowd, nice to be here, the first thing that comes out of his mouth, hey, how about that AIDS? He goes, you know, I read all this bad shit about AIDS, but then I read that AIDS doesn't discriminate. And that's kind of nice. And then like 10 seconds goes by, and this is what you hear him say, where are you going? A great Norm story. He hadn't had a cigarette, or at least he hadn't had a cigarette for 4 years. He quit smoking.
Right.
And he lost all this money on a football game. You ever hear of Mark Brunell, the quarterback, Mark Brunell?
No.
You know, the quarterback, you know, in the NFL. And Norm bet on him, and I guess, you know, fucked up. And one of the writers, it was a friend of mine, said he walked in and, you know, Norm supposedly hadn't smoked a cigarette for 4 years, and Norm was huddled up in the corner at his office at Saturday Night Live, huddled up smoking a cigarette, blowing the smoke out the window.
Right.
And the kid said to him, Norm, why are you smoking? And he, out of the side of his mouth, he said, ask Mark Brunell. Yeah, Norm has a lot of like very he's a kind of poet about life. Like he's very good at like pointing out the obvious in the most funny fucking way. They're not even jokes,
right?
You know, like Norm always said. This is such an insightful thing about comedy. Norm always said when he was doing Weekend Update, or even throughout his years doing stand-up, he would always say to the writers, to me the perfect joke is the setup and the punchline are the exact same thing.
Right.
That to me is a perfect joke. And he goes, we only came close once.
Right.
Julia Roberts was married to Lyle Lovett for a while.
Right.
So Julia Roberts announces she's going to divorce Lyle Lovett. So the joke is, Norm goes, Julia Roberts announced today that she's ending her marriage to Lyle Lovett. She wants a divorce from Lyle Lovett. When asked for the reason, she said, because I'm Julia Roberts and he's Lyle Lovett. I'll give you Norm. I'll give you an example of what I talked about with danger before, and like how many comics could get away with this and even breach this subject. Norm's observation about gay pride parade and the people who say, "I'm proud to be the parent of a gay of a gay man." You know this bit?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's on his last.
Oh my God! I was there the night he wrote this, and we're trying to figure out that he did it. Okay. He goes, yeah, I see in these gay parades, people walk around going, "I'm proud to be the parent of a gay man." I don't know. Is that something to be proud of? It's not an achievement. It's not like going to law school or something. It's just, what you are. It's like you're not proud of that. It's like, you go to their house and I go, how's Danny doing? Oh, he's doing great. Boy, that kid is great. He is going to Wharton School of Business, getting married to a wonderful woman from a great family. He keeps himself in shape. Oh, and by the way, he loves cock. Boy, that kid can't get enough cock. His mouth, his ass. I mean, it's just after law school and the gym, it's just cock, cock, cock. Here's a picture of him sucking a filthy cock. Here's him at his Harvard graduation, and here he is sucking a dirty cock. I don't know where he gets that from. He doesn't get that from me. He gets that from his mom. Norm, again, another Norm joke, but he sort of, again, that area pisses him off as much as it does us. He was at an SNL after party. This, to me, was put perfectly. I'm not going to say the comic's name because... I'm permission from Norm. But anyway, Harvey Weinstein was holding court. He was talking about he had seen that scene of alternative comedy, and he'd seen somebody that everybody was kind of at that moment was the king of that. That's all. And Harvey Weinstein, I've been seen him at work. He's a very obnoxious. He just yells shit out that he thinks is brilliant, like Stephen Wright jokes or something. Right. You can't have everything. Where would you put it? So he goes. He says this guy's name, and Norm's sitting there. He's on with Lorne and everybody, and and Harvey Weinstein says this person's name and goes, "I think Sons is a genius." And then he looks at Norm and goes, "Norm, what do you think?" And Norm goes, "Is he good at math or something?" And it's okay. The ballsy part is now Weinstein looks like an asshole, and people are like Lauren, and from that moment on, one of the most powerful guys in the world hates with a passion Norm Macdonald. It's like, so that's he's my hero for that, but is it worth it?
I really feel unleashed and on my own.
Yeah, well, you should do that Byron Allen show if you feel unleashed. Two things about that show you're going to love.
I'm not going on a tangent about the Byron Allen.
Well, real quick. Norm Macdonald goes, "I did that show, Comics Unleashed. I never felt more leashed."
What about Norm with the, here's the first joke. You know how you always have a moment where a light bulb goes off and you go, "Wow, that kid's a stone killer." I was watching him one night, he said, at a club, had no idea who he was. He said, "I feel sorry for the homeless guy, but I really feel sorry for the homeless guy's dog, because, the dog is thinking, this is the longest fucking walk ever."
Well, I opened for Norm for a while on the road, and we were together. We did a sitcom for 2 years, and we made a movie for 2 months. So it was like going away to camp with somebody, and either hate somebody or like them when you do that. That we ended up liking each other. We had the same vices, unfortunately, as far as gambling's concerned. But some people in the audience know this story, but I doubt you do. You'll love this.
No,
Norm.
Tell me.
So we do a movie called Dirty Work together. It's like a buddy comedy, and the review comes out in my hometown paper. My mother, I'm in LA. My mother calls me up crying. The critic in my hometown paper said that Artie Lang has all the charm of a date rapist. That's exactly what the guy said. So Norm gets on the phone and tries to cheer up my mother, and he goes, "Hey, Mrs. Lang, that's a great review." And she goes, "What are you talking about?" He goes, "A date rapist has to have way more charm than a regular rapist."
So that's Norm sitting shiva with your mother.
Yeah. Then there was a pause, and then she burst into tears again.